Hey everyone, let's talk about the network. The one in your office or at the local hospital or on a university campus. It's supposed to be the digital backbone for everything we do, right? But man, for way too long, it's been a huge source of complexity and, let's be honest, frustration. So what if we could change all that? Let's dive in and explore how we can flip the script and turn that network from a liability into a real strategic asset. And really, it all boils down to this one simple question. Is your network an asset or an anchor? I mean, is it actually pushing your organization forward, or does it just feel like it's holding you back, dragging you down with constant downtime and never-ending security worries? If you're kind of nodding your head to that second one, trust me, you are not alone. This slide here, I think it just perfectly captures the two different worlds we're talking about. Over on one side, you've got the old way. You know the drill. Tedious, manual, command line work, where just one little typo can bring the whole thing crashing down. It's a constant firefight. But on the other side, we've got the new cognitive approach. This is where we automate the complexity, where we proactively solve problems before they even happen. It's a total game changer. And let's be real, the stakes have never been higher. A network outage in a modern factory, well, that's not just some small inconvenience anymore. It can literally halt the entire production line. And in a hospital, it can directly impact patient care. These kinds of mission-critical environments are pushing those old traditional network designs way past their breaking point. So what's the answer? Well, it's taking a cognitive approach. Now, what does that mean? We're talking about building a network that can, for all intents and purposes, think for itself. It uses data and automation to become more reliable, way more efficient, and a whole lot more secure. And this is the core idea behind what Arista calls the Cognitive Campus Network. The Arista CCN is really built on three foundational pillars. First up is always-on reliability, because we have to eliminate downtime. Second, we've got cognitive automated operations to just make life simpler. And third, secure zero-trust networking to protect against all the modern threats out there. So let's break each of these down one by one. All right, pillar number one, reliability. The goal here is super simple, a network that just doesn't go down, period. And this isn't about, crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. It's about designing a network that actually expects things to fail and is built from the ground up to handle it without anyone even noticing. And the key concept that makes this possible is called high availability. Just think of it like having a backup for, well, everything. If one part of the network fails, a switch dies, a cable gets unplugged, whatever, the rest of the network just keeps on ticking like nothing ever happened. So, how does this magic actually work? Well, it's pretty cool. The network is smart enough to send traffic across two different paths at the exact same time. If one of those paths has an issue, bam, the traffic just instantly and seamlessly continues on the healthy path. And when I say instantly, we're talking about a failover that happens in less than a second. It's so fast, your users will never even know anything went wrong. Now check this out. This is my favorite part. Imagine performing critical system upgrades right in the middle of the workday with literally zero impact to your users. No more outage notifications. That's what features like Arista's Smart Switch upgrade make a reality. Say goodbye to all those late nights and weekend maintenance windows. Okay, on to our second pillar, automation. I think we can all agree that one of the biggest causes of network outages is, unfortunately, human error. So the big question is, how do we take that out of the equation? How do we make things faster, more reliable, and way more consistent? Ah, yes. If you've ever had to manage a large network, this slide probably feels a little too real. You know the pain. Hours and hours spent typing commands into a CLI, constantly double-checking for typos, and then spending even more time just validating that you didn't accidentally break something. And when you're dealing with hundreds of switches, keeping everything consistent feels almost impossible. This is exactly where a tool like CloudVision just changes everything. Instead of typing endless commands, you start with a proven, validated design template. You just tell it what you want the network to do. Then you literally point and click to assign your switches to their roles, and that's it. The switches power on and automatically configure themselves. A process that seriously used to take days or even weeks can now be done in minutes. And that brings us to our final and absolutely crucial pillar, security. You see, the old idea of having a strong, secure perimeter, like a castle with a moat, that's just ancient history now. We have to operate under the assumption that threats can and will come from anywhere, including from inside our own network. And this is where the whole idea of zero trust comes into play. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful concept. Trust no one, verify everyone. It means that every single time a person or a device tries to access anything on your network, we need to make sure they are exactly who or what they claim to be. No exceptions. So that sounds great, but how do we actually build a zero trust network? Well, the key technique is something called segmentation. The easiest way to think about segmentation is like building digital walls inside of your network. You create these little separate, secure zones for different groups of things. So, for example, all your security cameras live in their own little bubble. They are only allowed to talk to the video server and absolutely nothing else. That means if a hacker manages to compromise a camera, they're trapped. They're stuck in that one little segment and can't move sideways to attack anything else. It contains the threat and massively limits the blast radius. So, how granular can we get with these digital walls? Well, with modern technologies like VXLAN, you can create, get this, over 16 million unique secure segments. That is a huge number. It means you have the power to isolate basically anything and everything you want with incredible precision. All right, so let's pull this all back together. We've talked about a network that's always on, a network that's automated, and a network that's secure. But what does all of this tech stuff actually mean for the business? What's the tangible bottom line value of a cognitive campus network? Well, here's the bottom line. The Arista CCN advantage is pretty darn clear. First, you get massively reduced downtime, which means you have a network that supports the business 24/7. Second, you get a lower total cost of ownership because all that automation frees up your valuable IT staff to work on more important things. And third, you minimize your risk with a modern zero trust model that actually protects you from today's threats. And maybe the best part of all is that you don't have to rip and replace everything to get there. This whole approach is built on open industry standards, so it can work with a lot of the gear you already have. It's all about protecting your current investments while building a solid foundation for whatever comes next. So this really leaves us with one final, and I think pretty exciting question to ponder. When your network can practically think for itself, what will you have time to think about? What new projects, what new innovations could you finally bring to your business? And that, right there, is the real promise of a cognitive network. Thanks so much for joining me.